Hello, everyone. It is the hour, so we will start. I know that more people will end up joining us. There are still people in the waiting room, but this is to welcome you and to say Happy International Consultants Day. Well, it's a day that you all deserve. It marks your contribution to the economy, to the society, and to the better of businesses. I appreciate working with you all, and I know that every day is a learning day for me. Um, we would start this session, this morning session, which will be duplicated in the afternoon as well, with covering our agenda that talks about what ICMCI has done during this year in order to make sure that your contributions are reflected at your council as well. Um, I would like to first reiterate what we usually say at the beginning of any online virtual session, and that is please keep your mics closed. When you have any question or you want to say anything, please drop a note in the chat, and I will facilitate. Most importantly, the session would be recorded, and everyone would be receiving the recording link where it would be uploaded to our YouTube, and you would also get the presentations that everyone would be contributing with. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Happy International Consultants Day. And I give the mic to our chair, Dwight Mihalets, for his welcome address.
Hi, everyone. So nice to see you today. And I just love looking on the screen and seeing all the bright faces and so many people that I haven't seen for so long. So I'm really excited about today. It is our celebration of International Consultants Day, and it's a chance for us to come together and celebrate all of the great work that we have done together. And we have a great agenda for you today. I'm really excited to hear what everyone has to say and to learn more about the advancement of the profession on all of our behalves. It's been quite the year, the last year. We had our celebration a year ago this month in the time of the pandemic. And I think at that point we were thinking, well, by the end of the year, we'll be through all of this. But here we are 1 year later, and now we're thinking we'll soon be through it. And I think this is a more optimistic realization. But the big learning for us, for our client organizations, is that the pace of change can be much faster than anyone would expect it to be. And this reflects that disruption can be faster and deeper than anyone might expect it to be. So we as management consultants really do need to be at the forefront. We need to be continually thinking about how it is that we can position ourselves to be of the best support possible to clients and to our client organizations. And things are changing dramatically with respect to how our clients do work, hybrid staffing models, for example, but also how they bring in specialized expertise to help them solve problems. So access to knowledge is greater than it's ever been, and access to different kinds of specialized expertise, I call it the Uberization of consulting, is greater than it's ever been. So we need to be sure that we as management consultants are that step above in terms of what is that addition that the profession brings, that diagnostic capability to support client organizations in implementing solutions to problems that they have that are sustainable. So the agenda today reflects all of these things. We will be hearing in terms of things like our National Consulting Index, the future of consulting, our competency framework. We're hearing from a colleague organization, EBRD, which I'm excited to hear about. So rather than me talk about all of these things, I think what I will do is pass it back to Rima, who is moderating our session today. And let's get on with the agenda and leave as much time as possible for discussion, questions and answers, and so on. So I'm very happy to welcome you all again to launch this meeting, and I'll hand it back to you, Rima.
Thank you, Dwight. And yes, it is an exciting agenda. It is a good update, and I hope we make you all feel proud of your own achievements. Because remember, anyone who's delivering anything at ICMCI is a management consultant and is a volunteer, so it's two in one. Having said that, I would like to introduce Natalia, who's with us from EBRD. Natalia, as you know, she's a colleague. She's always been there for ICMCI, but I would like to officially introduce her and introduce what she does at EBRD. EBRD. Natalia has been working for the EBRD's advisory programs in different countries for 15 years. She now holds the post of Principal SME Finance and Development Group at the EBRD. And the advisory programs are currently implemented in 30 countries. So, from Morocco to Mongolia, the two M's. They target small and medium sized companies and provide them with advisory assistance, either via local consultants of international industry or international industry experts. But over the past few years, Natalia has also been responsible for the launch and implementation of the capacity building training programs. And that's how we work very closely with Natalia, because what we were able to do together is introduce the ISO 20700 to the Introduction to Management Consulting course that they deliver. So we already work together. We will continue working together, and hopefully Natalia will now be able to tell us how the standards are used at EBRD, how they are implemented in their delivery, and how we could continue the successful relationship. Natalia, the floor is yours, my dear.
Thank you, Rima. I will try to share. I prepared a few slides. Let me try to share. So I have prepared a few slides. So I will tell you how we work with the consultants and how we try to improve the how do we see our role in improving standards of consultancy services in our project. But first, I will maybe give you a bit of a context. So I work for the SME Finance and Development team, and the team was created a few years ago to integrate different activities that the bank did regarding small and medium-sized companies under the one umbrella. And that's how Small Business Initiative was created. There are 5 pillars. So we provide finance through partner financial institutions, and every year we provide about 1 billion of financing through partner banks and microfinance institutions across 30 countries. We provide co-financing with local banks to share the risks. We do provide direct financing to a selected group of SMEs. And not the last and not the least is business advice, who is one of the crucial pillars of the Small Business Initiative. And we work with local consultants and work with international advisors. Every year we do about 2,500 projects where we directly engaged and where we are engaged with local and international advisors. And the last pillar, but not the least, is policy dialogue, when we engage with the local governments and policymakers on various policy reforms related to small and medium-sized companies. This map shows our network. So we work in 30 countries. We have not only a regional office, but also offices in remote locations. And in every office, we have an advisory team. It's a team of people who work on the ground, who engage with local SMEs, who engage with local consultants, and who help to facilitate the advisory project. We play our role on the client side in every advisory project. So we help them to select a consultant. We provide them our database to select the consultant that would fit the best their needs. We help them to draft terms of reference and negotiate with the consultants. We follow up the project through the whole implementation. And even after the project is completed and the client is happy and everybody is happy and the project is completed, it's not completed for us. We will come back to the client 1 year after to see if they are still happy with the results and if they use the advice that was provided by the consultants, and if this advice made a difference to how they run their businesses and on the end results. So these teams, they play crucial role in our program implementation. Here we show how, first of all, the variety of various programs that we implement. So we have a long-standing women in business program that encourages women participation in the economic activities. We recently launched youth in business and skills in business programs that work with young entrepreneurs and help reduce skills mismatch. We work with refugee and have refugee response programs in a few countries. We recently launched a new program called Star Venture, supporting innovative entrepreneurs and startups. And you can see here how all of these activities are aligned to sustainable development goals. So we cover a wide spectrum here, but again, the crucial role in all of this program is played by advisory, which is implemented by consultants, local and international. To be able to implement all of this program, we try to find our role in helping to develop local consultancy market. Not in all countries where we work, consultancy is an established profession. We work in many remote locations. And when I was preparing for this presentation, I looked up the figures and I realized that we have over 10,000 consultants in our network who help us implement our programs. And these consultants were engaged and implemented over 33,000 advisory projects over the years since we were launched. But it's a huge figure, it's a huge database. And all of these programs were quite successful in the past, and will continue running them. So to be able to serve this big network, a few years ago, we came up with the idea to design a series of training programs for them to address their needs on different stages of their development. So we have 7-8 courses in the series now. It starts with starting a consulting business, managing a consulting business. So it's a series. There are a few courses there, and the latest edition that we launched last year is called Overcoming Distance, Consulting Through Crisis and Beyond, about remote delivery of consultancy, about the special skills that you need when you cannot meet your clients the way you would like to meet them, how to do diagnostics remotely when you cannot visit your clients. So this is a new program that has been quite popular. But the core of this series is still with Management Consulting Essentials. That's the course that was originally designed in 2014-15, I think. That is built around Consultancy Competence Framework. And I saw in the agenda that you updated the framework, so we will need to update the course, and we will do that. We'll happily do that. And a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I think, Rima, correct me if I'm wrong, when the ISO standard was introduced, we agreed with Icmci that we will add a block to the Management Consultancy Essential course on the standard and on the checklist, and the participant gets Icmci certificate when they complete the course. So the courses, we've been running them for a while. We trained over 5,000 local consultants through all of these courses. I was quite impressed myself with this figure. We also, well, in the pre-pandemic world, we did international conference where people from all 30 countries, even even not only our countries of operations would come, and we did one in Tbilisi years ago and one um, in Cairo. So
Cairo. Mhm.
Cairo, yes, and Rima was presenting at both of these conferences, and we are quite grateful for that. So we see our role in helping helping to meet the needs of the local consultants. So we do every second year we do a consultancy market review to try to understand the trends and the needs, and this is how we come up with the new activities and the new trainings. And this is something we are very proud of. So I told you that 1 year after every advisory project is completed, we come back to the clients to find out if the advice was implemented and how it affected their performance. So from these are the figures for the last 3 years. So it's about 7,000 projects. This is covered by the statistics. So we can see that the clients of our clients, they grow, right? And over the 3 years, they generated 4 billion in additional turnover. And these are SMEs; these are not large clients. They grow in terms of jobs, and they created over 60,000 new jobs. They improve the productivity, and they grow their export. So it's close to 1 billion of additional export of this small and medium-sized clients that were helped with advisory project. And also we see our role in promoting promoting the use of consultants. So 6% of our clients have never used consultants before or had an experience they were not happy with. But on the bottom, you can see a small figure that within 12 months after completing an advisory project with our help and with our subsidy, 38% of the clients used consultants independently. So they saw the value and they continued using consultants independently, which we think is a big success. We're very proud of these results, but at the end of the day, all of these projects were implemented by local consultants. And I could see familiar names on the screen already, so I can. We definitely have consultants who implement this project on this call, and I'm sure we have the trainers who do the Grow a Consulting Business courses for us on this call as well. And this is something we are proud of, as I said, and I'm very happy to be part of it, and I'm happy to be on this call, and I wish you a happy International Consultants Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. Thank you very much. And those numbers actually make me personally happy. I know that everyone's happy with them, but at least this is the impact that we are seeking. This is what management consultancy is all about. This is what we strive to do as well. And I'm happy that you mentioned that some of those on the call are actually working with you. So it means that we leave impact wherever we go and whomever we work with. Hats off to everyone. And thank you, Natalia, again. Now we move on to Robert. I know that most of you know Robert. He's a vice chair on the ICMCI board, and he's the one who's been raising the flag of the standards all along with the ISO. And now he's going to tell us about something yet that he works on, which is the NCI, the National Consulting Report. If you remember, we launched this during our event last year, same event, and we promised that there would be an update for this year, and they promise and deliver. That's what the NCI task force is all about. So Robert, the floor is yours, please. You can share your screen and you can lead us through your presentation.
So I hope everybody can see my screen now and can hear me. Hello, everybody, my friends over the world. I don't know, I think most of you attended the last year presentation of the NCI. I do remember well, it was one of the first virtual events that we held at the beginning of the pandemic. And all of us were overwhelmed by the situation. We were looking in a very uncertain future. But today we are looking in a future that might be uncertain, but it's what we do know. It's different from the future we were looking a year ago. So for us, the global community of management consultants, the NCI, gives us and our stakeholder orientation about the evolvement of market and the conditions to deliver management consulting services. Let's proceed. Now, as I told, 2020 and 2021, both are not business as usual. 2021 has been an exceptional year, that's the past, and everything has changed from 2020 on. 2021 will be different too, and so we decided that we will not do the NCI as you were used to, or you are used to, hopefully. We will not look into the past because we want to look into the future. How will the market develop, and what do we think will the future be for 2021? That is a different approach of the NCI, and therefore we decided to approach our members. We approached our MCIs and to ask them how would they think, how do they believe will the market develop, and what will be the estimate size of the country's management consulting sector. The third question was, what is the prediction of the size in 2021? And the last question was, what would be the reasons? All of you got these questions, and fortunately we had 35 institutes that responded, and therefore we were able to do this survey. Well, to make it short, we do have a global growth in 2021 of 5%. This is, although the pandemic will have a big impact on the first half of the year. So for 2021, the first half of this year, we already have behind us. Although we think on a global level that we will have a growth of the management consulting market of 5%. There is a very big variance from minus 60% to plus 43% by different IMCs, different countries that responded. We were analyzing this variance. Is there any pattern that we could see, that we could find? And at the end of the day, we found a very rough pattern, but the answers of our questions, they were different from region to region, from IMC to IMC. They were different from high development, a little bit less developed market. So actually we said, okay, a total growth of 5%, that's realistic, and the difference from country to country needs to be analyzed country per country. But we did also is we added up this growth per hub, and as you might see, the growth in Africa is the predicted growth in Africa is the highest, but in percent, in the total amount, it is not as high because the base where we start the calculation from is not as high. The Americas, I have to say, we only have US numbers in our survey. It has smaller growth in percent, but of course in totals, that's a very, very big amount. Asia Pacific is a little bit lower, and Europe in total amounts is between Americas and Africa. So again, we had these 35 responding IMCs. Again, it is very high variance, as you see, per hub. As we can see, if we add up in 5 groups of countries, we have a growth between 0 and 20%. We have a loss between 0 and minus 20%. We have this group of countries with no changes, and we have a very high growth with plus 20% or a very high loss with minus 20%. And if we see on the number of countries which are in the groups, the biggest number of countries is with 14 countries in the group of a growth between 0 and 20%. And the smallest group is with 4 countries with a predicted loss of minus 20%. So we hope that all of you are in the growth group, but some of you might be in the losing group of predicted revenue. Now, to summarize the findings from my personal perspective, as I said, we predict a 5% increase. 17 of these 35 countries were anticipating a raise in the national management consulting from market from 2020 to 21. And we do have, in general, countries with a large revenue in national management consulting sector. 5 of them are expecting a raise. It's only Australia that's expecting a small reduction. Yeah, these are the conclusions. The larger national management consulting markets are more positive. That's in general, we can say that. And there is a great variability about the future, as I told already. Now, this is it from my side. This is about the National Consulting Index. If there are some, I think we have time for 1 or 2 questions. I'm not 100% sure, but Rima will do. And from my side, happy consultants they do.
Thank you, Robert. And I want to thank on your behalf the task force that worked on this. We have Simon Haslam with us, who's part of it, of course, and he's the chair of the academic fellows. I'm not sure if Tamara is with us. Tamara Abdel Jaber is part, and of course, Gergana, who's a vice chair of the board. So thank you all for this. Thank you for the information. And we need to tell you that we're working on the full report, which will be sent to you all by Friday, if I'm not mistaken, Robert. That would be tomorrow. So if anyone has a question now, Robert would be willing to answer. If not, when you read the full report, we would expect your questions via email. Does anyone have any question?
Rima, Brendan here.
Hello, Brendan. Please go ahead.
Yes,
we have time for this, just one question, by the way, because
sure.
afterwards we need to be with Simon. Go ahead, Brendan.
Thank you. I did put a question in the chat to Robert directly, but Robert, I'm just interested to know how the actual revenue, actual or predicted, is determined, because I find that is a challenging thing to do for a country. And so I'm just genuinely interested in how different countries have actually come up with that figure for you.
Yes, you're addressing one of the most difficult issues of this NCI. Well, we addressed the countries with the same question. What would they understand by their definition of management? We didn't make the definition by ourselves. We expected the countries to do. So the total revenue, I think that's on an orientation. The growth, if you have the same definition country per country, that gives us an indicator. Usually when we do the NCI, we have our own definition and we work with standardized surveys and reports. In this situation, we needed to address the MCIs, and therefore I would take the growth more than the total numbers.
Okay. I suppose.
But I do understand it's very complicated. Yes.
I do, but I suppose I was. This is obviously very important to us, and what I don't know, it's not my specialty, but maybe certain countries collect actual formal statistics at a country level that I'm not aware of. So that's part of why I'm asking, and maybe maybe we need to even help different countries at a country level better understand, not from a management consulting institute level, but an actual governing of the country level, measure things of this nature, because they are important. So I'm asking, and yet also challenging where we're going with those sorts of metrics. So thank you.
Thank you. It's a very good discussion, but unfortunately we don't have time to do that. But you are happily invited to our task force.
Sure.
And
thank you.
Thank you, Brendan. Well, it's questions like these that actually makes the task force even more into bringing out better data and better information. But as Robert said, we're dependent on our IMCs. When our IMCs provide us with data, we hope that they provide us with data that follows at least our definition of what management consultancy is. And we hope that next year, not just 35, but all the IMCs would be able to provide info, would provide data, and then we would also have our source provide us with the information that we need, because as Robert said, this year it wasn't a normal year. They weren't able to produce, and this is why we opted for this methodology. Again, thank you, Robert. And I would like to welcome Simon Haslam, the chair of our academic fellows, who is now working on producing and giving life to international consultancy book that would be ICMCIs, and he's going to tell us all about it. So Simon, the floor is yours. Good luck, my dear, and tell us about this exciting project.
Good morning, everybody. Delighted to be working with you, and happy International Consultants Day from me here in Scotland. I'm just going to take a few minutes in my role as chair of the Academic Fellows to outline a project we started perhaps in the back end of 2018, which was to create a global book on consulting skills and consulting as a profession. We've made good progress on the project, and my thanks to everybody who's been able to contribute. The basis of the project was this. Most books on consulting are written from quite a narrow perspective. You can have books whose view of consulting is based on European practice, and books, for example, whose view of consulting is based on, for example, North American practice. And while these books are well researched and very useful, where we see the opportunity is a book that genuinely embraces the practice of consultants from around the world. And we would recognize perhaps the biggest opportunity in the management consulting profession is from a global perspective rather than the established bigger economies around the world. So this is an unashamed, deliberate worldwide view. We also felt it important to anchor the book in established good practice, specifically the CMC competencies and specifically the ISO. And to use those as the foundation to perhaps look at the way that consultants build their client relationships, execute great projects, and also build their own practices. And the view was, the methodology was to invite CMCs from around the world, invite the academic fellows, and invite other consultants to share their insights and share their wisdom. We set ourselves a notional target of publishing in 2021. So here's where we are in terms of the progress. We have agreed the structure of the book, And roughly, the book will have the following sections. There will be an element of scene setting as an introduction, which will talk about the methodology and the focus and the purpose of the book. And then, with Gagana's help, and she'll say more on this, we'll have an illumination of where we see consulting as a profession heading in the future. And this is to come back to perhaps Dwight's expression of the Uberization of consulting. There is little doubt we are living in interesting times and in a very vibrant area of economic work. What we're then going to look at are four main areas. So how does a consultant go about developing their own consulting skills? The second one is how does a consultant build a very successful consulting business, irrespective of whether this is a solopreneur, single consultant enterprise, or whether we are looking at a firm that is perhaps having more than one office. How does a consultant go about selling consulting work to clients? And these might be established clients, but it's also developing relationships with new clients. And then finally, how does the consultant go about delivering very successful consulting projects for clients and generating value for a client? So with these headings in mind, we sought examples from around the world, and thanks to the central team at Icmci for all their support there, both in terms of making the pathways into the CMCs strong, and then the role of marketing and marketing colleagues to promote it on social media. And I'm delighted to say we have received 174 examples of insight from around the world. And I keep stressing around the world because the goal is to have as much of a geographical footprint as possible. Yesterday, I went through the examples and I did a word count, and those 174 examples accumulate in over 24,000 words. Now, the way we framed the examples was very tightly. We were looking at insight from consultants of around 100 words, somewhere between 50 and 200 words. And so that would give us what we refer to as a nugget or a soundbite, around which we could then use these to populate the structure of the book. So having got these examples, the writing of the manuscript is underway. So we have the structure, we have the examples, and so we're beginning to build the book ready for publication. So my final comment is, in addition to the thanks to everybody who's been able to contribute, and I'm seeing a lot of contributors on the call already, which is lovely, we would love more examples, specifically from consultants in Africa and Latin America. And that will help us get a genuine worldwide presence, and specifically around these subjects here. Digital profile, so what do consultants currently do on platforms like LinkedIn or platforms like Facebook, or perhaps their ability to create blogs, and how consultants are starting to embrace digitization and the social media agenda to promote their own brands and their own work. How do consultants deal with risk? And that's not risk purely from the point of view of working on a client project, but in the development of their own enterprises. And as Robert was talking about when he was framing the NCI project, we live in times which were very different to the economies we experienced in 2017, 18, 19. So the risk to one's business model as a consultant will be part of what all of us are doing, making sustainable firms. How do consultants go about employing others, whether that be on an associate basis or whether that be on putting somebody on your payroll? So how do consultants sort of build their expertise beyond themselves? And what are consultants doing in terms of diverse business models? So if one way of dealing with risk is one runs a diverse business model, what are the elements that a consultant's embracing in 2021? So in summary, excellent progress thanks to those contributing to the book. We have the structure, we're writing the manuscript, and in parallel with the writing of the manuscript, to continue to seek more input would be really, really useful. How to share the input. Some of you may have my contact details, but I think the safest way in is if we use the location into the CMC headquarters and secretariat. So emails into Kazaima and emails into Rima would be the most appropriate way of continuing to contribute. And let me conclude by thanking everybody for their support for the project to date. I'm really excited where this is going to take us. So thank you very much and have an excellent day. And that's Rima, that's back to you.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you for putting the effort into this. Thank you for making sure that the sound of the CMC is expressed in the book. Thank you for making sure that we cover everything that needs to be covered for the future for us to be ready, and for depending on the beautiful community that we have. So thank you very much. I know that you need to leave us now. You have another engagement. I want to wish you the best of luck. And anyone who has any question for Simon, please just send it to me and I will make sure that you receive the reply. Thank you, Simon. And again, happy International Consultants Day to you. Thank you very much. See you in the afternoon. This takes us, everyone, to the next part. Now, we talked about what EBRD are doing with the standards and how they're implementing the work of management consultants. We talked about the study that we did with regards to the consulting index. We talked about what we're going to produce, but all of this is based on our competency framework. This is all based on what we believe the standards of this profession should be. And we're upgrading those, we're updating those, we're working on them constantly. And we have with us Nick Warren, who's the chair of the Professional Standards Committee, who's going to tell us all about that, tell us about the work that has been done at the PSC during the past year, and how it will culminate at our annual meeting with a new set of a competency framework. Nick, the floor is yours, my dear.
Okay, thank you. And my apologies for my late attendance to the meeting, but I will try to share my screen now. I wanted to talk about three things. First of all, we need to set the background to the work that we've been doing in PSC, and that means taking a current view of our profession, where we are as a profession in the world at the moment, and then a view of the future in terms of ICMCI's vision and mission and how the PSC work fits into that. And then talk in more detail about what we've been doing in advising the board on things as components of excellence for the future of consultancy. So if we look at our profession as it stands today, I mean, there are not just thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of consultants who are doing a great job helping clients, adding value around the world. So, and our profession is really one of the most successful in terms of working with clients and building economic success. But we are also probably the least regulated profession as well. So although we've experienced as a profession a big growth and a status within the world that is quite high, there are still a lot of occasions, unfortunately, where there's scandal and a lot of things going wrong, which damage the profession and are not helpful to us at all. Some of the reasons for this is that because we're a relatively new profession and unregulated, it's difficult for clients to evaluate the quality of a consultant and to assess exactly the value that a consultancy project gives. And that's because there aren't really haven't been the required standards and benchmarks in place for clients to understand. Our process itself, in many instances, lacks transparency, so that there's misunderstandings between clients and consultants about what is going on in a project. And also certainly for some of our larger consultancy practices, the financial rewards available in big projects, particularly government and national level projects, the level of financial reward is so tempting that there's a tendency to oversell, a temptation to oversell, and then not perform. So that doesn't help in terms of the scandals that occur from time to time. We do have ethical codes, but not universally adopted, and therefore they don't have the teeth they ought to have in terms of making sure that all consultants everywhere in every project actually abide by the ethical and professional standard rules. So where do we see the future going? Well, ICMCI's vision and mission puts them at the forefront of bringing excellence to our profession, and thereby improving its reputation. So you can see the vision and mission statements are all about improvement and success, not just economically for companies, for organizations, for countries, but also social success as well. We believe that consultants have a wider responsibility than just making their clients more profitable. And the Professional Standards Committee, the work we do is to advise the board on the development and the maintenance of those standards and guidelines that will help make that vision and mission come true in terms of bringing excellence, an ever-increasing level of excellence in our profession, by having such things as awards and certifications, qualifications, and more importantly, the assessment processes that go around them. So the PSC over the past nearly 3 years has been working on 3 areas to bring that success and that excellence into the profession. And I'd like to mention, the team of people that have been working on this over these 3 years. There are 10 of us in the Professional Standards Committee, some of whom are online with us this morning, and they've done a great job in contributing to the work we've done in terms of producing these 3 components of excellence. Firstly, in terms of competence and the new updated competence framework that we've been working on. Secondly, in terms of behavior and the new code of ethics and professional conduct. And then thirdly, the process of consultancy in terms of ISO 20700 and the self-declaration checklist, which ICMCI has developed as the best practice in applying the standard to a project. So what we believe in the PSC is that these 3 components are what will bring about excellence for the future of consultancy. They are the 3 components that will be necessary in excellent consultancy. Competence in terms of the knowledge, the skills and experience that an individual consultant brings to the job. Behavior in terms of the core values of ethics and professional conduct that a consultant should demonstrate within a project, not just tied to doing things in the interest of the client, but also, as you can see, in terms of the wider society and the planet, by working on helping themselves and clients to work on the United Nations 17 sustainable development goals as well. And then thirdly, the process of consultancy in doing the job right, making sure that all the boxes are ticked, that everything that needs to be considered in a project is covered. Just looking very quickly in detail at those three areas, the new competence framework is the whole of the abilities, the knowledge, skills and experience consultants should have in terms of general business insight and aptitude for doing business, in terms of proper knowledge of how consultancy works in all its phases, through marketing, managing leads, carrying out the project, follow-on activities. Then in terms of consultative behavior, in terms of proper interpersonal interaction, of effective communication and so on. And then lastly, in terms of adhering to standards of ethics and professional conduct in the work they do. And a new framework has been developed and designed to include all of the changes that have taken place in the profession and in the business sector over the years. So there's more concentration now on the use of technology and forefront technology like artificial intelligence. There's more concentration on the soft skills of consultancy in terms of interpersonal interaction and so on, and more concentration on some of the more strategic and business transformational approaches to consultancy that are now required. So moving on to the Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct, again, the team has developed a code and is proposing this to the board for approval and publication at the general meeting in October, which is split into 5 parts and is now much more comprehensive than previous codes in terms of all of the areas of business and society in which we believe consultants should take responsibility. So it's not just serving the interests of clients now, it's serving the interest of the wider society and the planet. And again, I'd mention the UN 17 SDGs as a key part of the new code of conduct. Serving the interest of the organization to which the consultant belongs. So once again, making sure that the organization is conforming ethically and showing good professional conduct. Serving the interest of colleagues. So we recognize now that the well-being of the people who work for us or the people who work with us is important. And so therefore the new code of conduct includes areas of how consultants should work to serve the interest of those whom they work with. And then lastly, serving the interests of the profession and doing things to further the reputation and enhance the reputation of our profession in the work they do. And then lastly, of course, the ISO standard, which has been in place now for 3 years, and the checklist that's been going now for over 2 years, very successfully in terms of the training of trainers and consultants, able to use the checklist and use and apply the standard in the best possible way. The standard and the checklist now provide a really comprehensive view of everything that client and consultant need to consider in a consultancy assignment. So that element of the lack of transparency is taken away by the application of the standard using the checklist. Universal, so it's usable for any type of client, any size, any business sector, any type of project, whatever speciality is involved. But it's flexible, and we need to recognize that the standard is a guideline, not a normative standard, and therefore it is aimed at consultant and client reaching a mutual agreement about what, in the consideration of everything within a project, what is it that's important? What is it that needs prioritizing? What are the areas maybe that within this particular project are not so important and are not relevant? So it's flexible based on agreement between client and consultant. Again, we're removing that lack of transparency, and we're building a mutual understanding between consultant and client. So, the benefit of the standard is universal. Providing this common framework for clients and consultants helps to prevent misunderstandings, and it gives clients now the ability to evaluate and assess both the quality and the professional standards of the consultants and the value of the project that's been undertaken. So there you have it, the three components of excellence which we've been working on, which we are proposing to the board for, or at least two of them, for publication in October at our general meeting. And ISO that is already beginning to make a change in the world of consultancy. So I'll leave you with the big picture. And I don't know whether I've left enough time for questions, but certainly happy to answer if there are any.
Thank you, Nick. And yes, we have time for the one question that is already in the chat, and it is from Brendan. And he's asking you the following. If the ICMCI competence framework has been updated or modified, does that mean that the future CMC recertifications undertaken by member countries will need to amend the process?
Yes, it does. I mean, there will no doubt be a transition period after the new framework is published. And therefore, new certifications and recertifications will need to be assessed according to the new framework. But again, that will depend on the length of the transition period. In terms of the basic principles behind the framework, they've not changed, Brendan, but it's been brought up to date in terms of some of the topics that it covers that were never there, like 10 years ago, when the old one was being worked on. So there will be new things that consultants will have to work on in order to retain or gain CMC from you.
Thank you. We just want to be proactive with preparing ourselves, both personally and as an institute.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you, Brendan, for that question, because the IMCs would be responsible for that to the CMCs and the consultants. However, the entity that would be responsible to roll out this is the QAC. And therefore, I'm thanking Nick for this presentation. Thank you, Nick, for all the work that you do. Thank you for always being there for ICMCI. And would like to move from the PSC to the QAC, where they also use this competence framework as a backbone in their assessments to IMCs, but also govern themselves with standards. So Olga is going to tell us all about the ISO 17024, where they, as QAC, are ready to roll out that as a service to the IMCs. Olga, the floor is yours, my dear.
Thank you. Thank you, Rima, and happy International Consulting Day for all of you. I'm really happy to see all of you. And of course, it would be more than happy to hug all of you. And, you know, I know one life hack, how to do it online. So I really miss all of you. So, and big hug to all of you. And actually, as for certification, you know, it's very logical when we as professional organization, as professional community, we develop standards. And definitely what Nick said already, competence and of course behavior and of course processes is very important. And then training, it's very important, which EBRD, Natalia from EBRD told us. But then it's very logical to go to certification and professional certification. And that's why, of course, we really would like to be distinguished in our work, our world, and recognized in our world. So I have prepared a small presentation, which I will not maybe follow word by word, but then definitely we will have a small surprise for you and small, very, very nice video for all of you. So actually, as for our role as QAC, Quality Assurance Committee, a year ago, I was offered to the honor of leading of QAC, and it was kind of new phase and developing, you know, this and getting authorized according to ISO 17011 to maximize the value that our work creates to our members, of course, because QAC mission is to provide independent assurance to delegates on member institutes and of course compliance with ICMCI standards first and of course membership requirements. And last year ago, we have such a self-declaration as official authorization body. And according to ISO 17011, now we could make and give certificate of authorization to our IMCs. But do you know why? Why do we need it? We do have brilliant standard, ICMCI standard, and we do have certification scheme, actually brilliant certification scheme, which is absolutely comply to all international requirements of ISO AX 17024. But why do we need another step? Why do we need another step of authorization according to 17024? Actually, you know, first of all, we should answer to ourselves. And of course, the first answer, which I see and our committee and professional body, of course, share it. It's, of course, increase trust and recognition worldwide. It's very important for all of us. And for last year, trainings and online trainings increased, I don't know, 10 times, in some countries even more. Professional certification increased also 2 or 3 times. And right now in the world, there are so many certificates which you could get easily or after training, which is quite sometimes very expensive training, but nevertheless, it's professional certification and kind of worldwide recognition, kind of. But for us, it's very important to build trust and to increase such a trust and credibility from our market. That's why I think that such a step as 17024, which is definitely also the standard which offer to the market qualified personnel based on independent and international recognition. And again, this is worldwide certificate and worldwide recognized approach to all of this. And of course, it's also help us to benchmark of our IMCs and definitely continual improvement of our IMCs and provided services for our members. It's very important for us. And again, it is also distinguish us and our certification from other professional certification which we do have. Yes, some words about accreditation and authorization. Right now, we are, as you saw in the previous slides, we are self-declaration. We have a self-declaration, and we are official authorization body, not accreditation body. But it's again, this scheme is really similar. And when we are talking about our IMC, we are talking that our IMC is conformity assessment body, and definitely in case of authorized according to 17024, you are definitely could be more valuable for your market, more recognized, and of course more added value for your members. First of all, again, I would like to, I'm pleased to offer such a program, authorization program for our IMCs in accordance to ISO 17024. And again, just maybe to mention in other words, yes, what was written in the introduction of this standard, that definitely it's certification of persons. I would say in a future and in the future world, it would have really important role, and again, very important also assurance that this certified person really meets requirements of the certification scheme. We do have this certification scheme, and for to comply according to ISO EX 17024, we do have certification scheme. But in this case, if IMC would like to go for 17024, you should show all your system, all your management system of your IMC. So I would say it's kind of next step of IMC development. It's kind of next step of sustainability and improvement of our members. And from our side, yes, from side of QAC, it's also additional add value, additional service for our members. So you're welcome to be authorized, and we do have, as you saw already, 2 IMCs which already have this certificate, and one of them we do have already some more application, but right now we have already 2 certificates. Again, we actually only 1 year as authorized body. And we are pleased to introduce one of them. And thank you, Hanona, to send us very wonderful video. And I'm sure Kuzaima will show it. But before that, maybe I will answer the question which we have. So I see some questions in our chat.
I'm looking at them. There are no questions for you, Olga, on this. So I believe we should play the video. And anyone who has questions, who wants to know more, please do send an email to myself and Olga. Unless, Olga, you received messages directly to you,
yes,
and not to the public?
Yes,
okay.
I have a message.
Okay, I cannot see them.
It's from Australia, so Australia, you're welcome for this authorization. Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, because I didn't see it at my end. It was a private message to you. Okay, Khuzaima, may you please share your screen, show us the video so that we all can upload the work of QAC and the work by BCC, which is the IMC in Kosovo, for gaining this authorization. Please go ahead, Khuzaima.
The Business Consulting Council, BCC, has achieved international accreditation and becomes the second organization in the world to provide training and certification for digital transformation consultants. This accreditation was issued by the Icmci. Accreditation to provide digital certification is essential, mainly because it helps ensure increased quality of services. This accreditation demonstrates BCC commitment to providing certification of consultant skills in Kosovo with a goal to make our companies part of Europe's digital value chain. In 2020, just 2 weeks before the pandemic, we started training, and now we have about 44 consultants who have completed digital training, while 36 completed the training and certification in 3 areas: e-commerce, social media, IT security, data protection, and digital transformation.
As a management consultant and certified digital transformation expert, I have helped companies in all industries define their transformation objectives and further develop a step-by-step transformation journey, from business changes, process engineering, re-engineering, use of important technological solutions to increase productivity, enable automation, enhance audience, and penetrate new markets.
This business development services certification mechanism is in line with the best practices from Austria. Successful completion of this accreditation process led BCC to winning 2 donor-sponsored projects and 2 other projects to be concluded very soon. The benefits of these accreditations are positive impact on building digitalization skills to consultants and creating new capabilities to provide services in the field of digitalization, empowerment of consultants, stimulating digital transformation in private sector, and the increase of competitiveness for BCC, having the opportunity to provide certification in domestic level and in the region.
As head of accreditation program at BCC, developing management system conform ISO 17024 was very practical. It helped the organization to develop a structured approach toward each certification scheme. Since this accreditation with ISO 17024, training and certification process of new certified consultants with all certification schemes have become easier for all Kosovo and regional consultants. Having this opportunity in Kosovo, I consider that it benefits the consultants and also all other companies present in Kosovo and in the region.
We will continue to train and certify consultants from whom we expect to support the growth of the companies they will serve, to be that domestically or around the world. We wish you a happy
and International Consultants Day.
And best of luck to all IMCs with accreditation with Icmci. Thank you.
Well, hats off, Yahona. Thank you, Olga, for the work of the QAC. Congratulations. And this is yet another achievement for ICMCI that helps empower, raise the standard, enable the IMCs. So please, everyone, if you want to know more, contact Olga, contact myself. You can even contact Yahona and get more info, get more answers on the why, and we will provide the answers on the how. So let's make this happen. Let's make sure that we provide the standards and we do follow them in order to make sure that we provide the best to our clientele. Again, thank you, Yahona. Thank you, Olga. And this takes me to a beautiful initiative that talks about all of this, that puts all of this into perspective, that puts us in the mind of the future, makes us ready for the future, and that is a program or an initiative that is led by Gagana Mantarkova, who's a vice chair at the board of ICMCI and also is leading this initiative in order to know better on how we can prepare ourselves for the future. And like Simon said, even some of that would go into the consultancy book. So Gagana, the floor is yours for us to tell us about your wonderful initiative.
Thank you, Rima. Thank you for the opportunity to present the new ICMCI initiative. It is a positive sign indeed to officially launch it when we mark the International Consultants Day. Now, let me see how I will deal with sharing. With the time slot which is allocated today, I would like to provide an outline of 3 questions. Why now? What we aim to achieve, and how we're going to implement the initiative. So We have been through a perfect storm and are now living in a different world, as all previous speakers have noted in one way or another. It is more complicated, fast changing, bringing new context and unfamiliar features. The COVID-19 pandemic is urging everyone to rethink the way they live, work, and socialize. Institutions, governments, businesses are all having to adapt, and the same applies to the management consulting industry. The COVID-19 pandemic also showed that no institution or individual can cope with the situation or address the problems on their own. So with these challenges come real opportunities to position ICMCI towards achieving its vision to be a leader in the development of management consulting as a global profession that drives social and economic success. And the previous priorities which have been introduced demonstrate that we are actually doing that very well. So ICMCI takes the lead on a journey towards the future of management consulting. The concept has been approved by the ICMCI board in February, and we had a number of meetings with leaders from different IMCs to present the idea, but also to hear their views. And we have achieved overwhelming feedback and enriching response. So I would like to take this opportunity and to thank all colleagues with whom we have met so far and who have contributed to shaping the initiatives. These are colleagues from Austria, Australia, Canada, China, Italy, the UK, Singapore, Switzerland. It has been really very rewarding to work with you so far. So where we would start from, in building the vision, we need to first define the problems. Then we need to find the solutions, and then we need to act on them. So as a start, the fundamental question to ask is, what lies ahead of our clients' business? Where will clients take us? We know that as management consultants, we need to move at least as fast as the market we operate in. Another critical topic will be information technologies, how they deliver value and help consultants to adapt. During the pandemic, we have evidence how digital transformation has rapidly turned to digital delivery, consulting services included. Thus, we have to rethink how and where we will work. How will our clients' relationship change in the digital age? And the question about how I can grow the business in the new context, in this new environment. Can I benefit from applying new business models, and what are they? And the sense that we need convergence of skills becomes paramount. But what skills and capabilities we need? Is there a roadmap for management consultants to follow? All in all, it is critical to preserve relevance and ensure high quality of servicing clients. If certain practices were acceptable and considered as good in the past, will they be sufficient to provide good service in the future? It has been inspiring to listen, especially to Nick Wong's presentation. It's not only about new competency framework, it's to rethinking of our role, and not only as servicing clients, but in the context of why the management consulting profession exists. So therefore, inevitably, we would have to rethink also the role of ICMCI and the role of IMCs to continue servicing and advancing the consulting profession. How we will be implementing the initiative. We would like to work with the entire ICMCI network and beyond. We would like to operate as an open source platform and really bring people together on board. In addition to meeting each other at events, we would like to encourage members to share case studies, contribute with blogs, insights, own studies about what the future might look like. And if an institute would like to organize an event, for example, we would be more than happy to help. We distinguish our young consultants as an important stakeholder. So we would like to open the floor for them internationally, a space to learn and lead. Should they be interested, why not even support them in creating a young consultants community within the ICMCI network? We would also be looking for an internal perspective. We will be talking to international institutions like EBRD, for example, but also what else we could do with development banks and other institutions where we can increase the impact of what we do. We could also work with other associations, because the traditional lines between professional services are blurring, and it is important to define our space. And as Brendan Williams said yesterday in our discussion, to own the management consulting space. Mentioning Brendan, he's one of the members of the team which will work, and here are the other members. Let me introduce them to you now. They all have successful careers and really impressive consulting experience so far. They all play key roles in their respective institutes, and you will be hearing from them soon. Now, what I would do is just mention their countries. We have Dr. Amit Perenya from India. We have Brendan Williams, already well known, from Australia. Donna Ringrose will be our youngest team from Canada. I come from Bulgaria. Mark Pfeiffer comes from Switzerland. Nick Mann, who is also at our meeting today, is from China. Nick Won, everyone knows Nick, from the UK. Rima from Jordan. And we have also Dr. Drexler from Austria. So we will be all working together to implement the initiative, to drive the cause of our action. And if I have to summarize what principles we will follow, we want to really be an open platform. We want to be adaptable, which means that new questions might come. We want to listen to your ideas and incorporate them, take them forward. We also want to integrate our work with the other amazing initiatives and streams, priorities, which ICMCI have done and are advancing so well. The Competency Framework, the ISO 20700 update, which is coming. And we also want to achieve measurable results, to be tangible, to be very specific, to find solutions and really act on them. So where will the future of consulting take us? How should management consultancies, small and big, emerging and mature, prepare? Let us invite you to the journey we embark on, shaping the future of management consultancy together. So thank you.
Thank you, Gergana. That was a nice trip that you took us on, and I believe this is the trip for the future. It is our role to shape, it is our role to lead, and as you said, with the competency framework that now covers everything, this actually completes the work. We hope that ICMCI would be recognized for all that it is doing. We know that we will come up with a beautiful package for everyone. Wait to hear more from Gergana and the team. We will shape the future, but we need you to be with us. Hand in hand, it would be done. So thank you, Gergana. And this actually brings us to the end of our meeting today. I don't see any questions for you, Gurgana, but I'm definite that you will receive many via email. And if you send to me, I'll forward immediately. I would love to leave the last note to our chair, Dwight. Please talk to us. Tell us what you thought of this event, how you would reflect on the achievements of ICMCI, and close this wonderful celebration. Thank you, everyone. Dwight?
Well, thank you very much. In one word, fantastic. This has been a really, really good event. I just want to thank everyone. I know we're past time, but I do want to just spend a couple of minutes thanking and reflecting on these excellent presentations. First of all, thanks to Natalia for the presentation from EBRD. What really struck me there is the impact that consultants can have on small, medium-sized businesses and other types of client organizations. So to have that kind of data there was really enlightening, and thank you for understanding the impact of consulting as a profession and all the work that you're doing to support the growth of the profession around the world. In terms of the NCI, Robert, thank you again for those insights. I love the idea of the special report. It is difficult to get stats about what is consulting. And this is, as we heard from other speakers, there is a blurring in professional services, and there's a blurring in the types of consulting. And there's even a blurring of what is a consultant and what is not a consultant, what is part-time specialized expertise and what is a consultant. So the work of ICMCI and the work of this group at NCI to really come to grips with that is incredibly important. And a book for ICMCI. I love that idea, and thanks to Simon for outlining what's happening. If anyone hasn't sent in your couple of hundred words, ideas and thoughts, please do that, because I think this is going to be an incredibly valuable resource for us as we go forward. I am, as several of the other speakers have commented, very much looking forward to the new competency framework. It is an adaptation and an enhancement, so it's not an about face, but it is making sure that we, as the leaders for the profession globally, are taking a stand on what the profession is and what does competency mean. And I love that picture that Nick painted for us of competency plus behavior plus the process leads to that clarity of the project, the management consulting projects with our clients, and how it impacts the client, how it impacts society, and how it impacts the profession. So I think that those are great enhancements. And 17024, Olga, is a huge advancement for us, for ICMCI to be able to enable institutes to offer certifications other than the CMC is a great step forward. I agree with your point that the growth of online training has been tremendous, and it's all actually becoming commoditized. It's free or very, very inexpensive, and it's very hard to pick and choose about what's valuable training and what is somebody's sales pitch to try to sell you something. So for IMCs to be able to have a process to show that there is this value from this program, this enabling of people to do better work through certified programs is a really big step. And I'm really glad to see the uptake from the institutes. And what a note to end on, Gurgana. Thank you. The future of consulting. We do need to embrace that future. It is going to be uncertain. The pace of change is increasing, but it's bringing with us huge opportunities. And all of the types of disruption we've been talking about, and I've referred to in terms of blurring of lines and what is a consultant and what is not a consultant, it creates this need for the CMC. It creates the need and reinforces the need for institutes, because it's these coming together in different ways of management consultants that enable us to ensure that we're at the leading edge of best practices. And just the presentations today have reinforced to all of us the excellent work that is going forward. So I thank you all for those presentations, and I thank all of you for attending this event. It is a time to celebrate. International Consultants Day brings us together each year to do this, and just reflects the great work that's being done by the profession. So thank you all. So back to you, Rima, for whatever closing comments that you would have.
Thank you, Dwight. Well, the closing comments are Happy International Consultants Day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for your contributions to ICMCI. Thank you for your contributions to the profession. Thank you for taking what we offer at ICMCI and reflecting it to your members, to the consultants nationally, and to making sure that we elevate our profession in order to better serve the economies, better serve the communities, and actually make us feel proud. So you have the chance to celebrate that, and it is your special day. Thank you for being with us. But the one last thing that I know Yahona would want from me is a group photo.
Yes.
So if I would kindly ask everyone to open up their cameras, let's see the beautiful smiley faces for us to be able to take the photo. Yahona, I'll leave that to you. Please do. And nice to see you, Kim. Please, everyone else, put on your cameras. This is it, Yahona.
Yes, ready for the newspaper for the next edition. So thank you all. It was nice seeing you.
Thank you, everyone. And I know some of you might join us in the afternoon session as well. You're going to hear the same, but maybe with the questions and the interaction, you'd get more from it. Celebrate yourselves well. And see you next year for the update on the NCI, for the talk of what the future of consulting brought us to the table. Let's all think how we're going to roll out the new competency framework, and most probably we'll be celebrating the launch of our book as well. Thank you, everyone. Take care and keep well. Bye-bye.